Hey all. Hey, I thought I would show up and just speak for a little while, even though I'm not really feeling like it, but in another way I am. And I figured it'd be good for me to show up and speak and just be as I am, and maybe, yeah, there'd still be value in it and all of that. So, yeah, just going through some stuff, like we all are. Um, I feel like, in a way, like it's a struggle, but there's also grace. There's also grace, and it's not, even though some things feel really hard, do you know there's ease still? There's ease present and available too. And so I just get to offer that to myself and receive that for myself and be willing to receive that for myself. So, yeah, I haven't been sleeping that great like lately, but doing my best. Um, just with what I'm getting and what I can choose and all of that. And so, yeah, one of the things that really, really, really did help me, and I've mentioned it a few times, is that power of choice. Like seeing what we do when we do have a choice, and how many choices we actually do have, and we do have that power to choose love. And so, like, that power of choice is like our power, and yeah, and our power to choose that love, like that love for us, being true to us, and being here for us, being present for us, being allowing of us, ourselves, wherever we are, however we are, just as we are. And so, like, that, really does help to work with all that is, if we can, like, hold that space for ourselves, for all that we need, and for all that we be, just as we be, yeah, right as we be, here as we are, like this love for we. And that's what we are, is that love that we get to be, and that's love that we've been given to be, and that's the love that we can free, and that's the love that we need for we. And so, yeah, let's be that love that we are and we need for we. Let's free that love to be received. Let's free that love for all of we, and free that love, yeah, to be. Free that love to be. Be full and free and complete. Be all that it is and all that it'll be. All that it's been and all that it shall be. So, yeah, it's just knowing that, yeah, it's a paradox. It's all things. It's nothing. It's many things. It's one thing. Yeah. All those things. And so, yeah, if we could allow ourselves to be, yeah, all things, and let go of that, like to be nothing, to be all we are, like just as we be. Like, how would that be to be? How would that be to be? Yeah, so it's kind of funny. Funny stuff. Yeah, I've been doing good things, and yeah, my focus is good, and focusing on love and possibilities, because that's my power to choose, like what I'm going to focus on and where I'm going to put my attention. And that's one of the hugest things, is what are we paying attention to? Like, where is our attention going? Like, what do we focus on the most, or where do we find ourselves? Yeah, a lot of the time, when we kind of are on autopilot, and then we realize, maybe we weren't really paying attention, and we just get to become aware, and then realize and focus and redirect our attention. But yeah, sometimes it does take discipline, because it's so easy. There's so many distractions, like seriously, so many distractions, and like to keep us from really attending to our being, to our ways of being, and to what we're creating, and to what we want, and to what we really need too. Yeah, sometimes we ignore that. A lot of the times we ignore how we're feeling, or what our being is really asking for. And so it's just, yeah, something that we get to pay attention to, and like get to notice and realize and be accountable for, or care for. And yeah, which reminds me of like there was a notebook sitting here this last week, and I have been wanting to like kind of introduce it, these concepts, and maybe some of you have heard of them, the seven hermetic principles. And yeah, it's just kind of a universal laws that kind of work together, like that show how the laws of creation work. And I read something today, yeah, where it was on collective evolution and about natural law and everything, and they had listed the seven hermetic principles along with an eighth principle, which I don't know, like I don't know if I'd ever heard that before, but it totally makes sense to me. And I like sacred geometry. Like, I've always loved sacred geometry and symbols and everything. And it makes so much sense to me. And so, yeah, there's a teacher named Mark Passio, and he was part of a satanic group. And during his years, yeah, he decided like that he just, yeah, it wasn't for him anymore. And yeah, he didn't, yeah, he wasn't okay with what was going on, what was happening. So he decided he was going to dedicate his life to exposing like what they're doing and all of that. So he's got a lot of knowledge. And his own style and interpretation of things. Like we all have like our own filters and our own channels and our own bubbles and our lenses, that do like kind of, yeah, color our experiences, and they're unique to us. And so that's, yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we all have our own different spin on different things, but like basically like these are the same concepts, and they're just like they just have like a little bit of a different like spin or a different light like reflected in them, because it's through like our perception and expression and all that. So I think that's pretty cool. Like even if we're not like a fan of someone's personality or the way that they present things, I still feel like it's really good practice to open up and to listen, and observe and to consider certain things, even if it's like totally on the opposite side of the spectrum. Yeah, just to kind of, yeah, open up a little bit and detach, kind of like bring in the hanged man, suspend, and just observe and, yeah, see the another perspective, like consider another perspective. And sometimes that is hard for us, like when we're so attached to like what we think is right, or or right for us. Sometimes it's hard to separate, or detach from our own agenda, our own story, our own ways, to allow to make the space to see or receive or perceive like another way. And so yeah, it's kind of funny that way. But yeah, yeah, I just wanted to offer that and encourage like right thinking and being open to new things, asking questions and considering other ways of being, others' stories, others' experiences, other viewpoints. And so, can we allow the other person to have their story and their experience and their viewpoint? And can we like deeply listen? Like just hold the space to listen. We don't have to agree. We don't have to disagree. We can just allow it. Like, how would that be? So I want to practice that this week. Although I do my best, like, to allow that. But, like, in certain ways where I feel like, there's been a lot of triggering, and it's kind of made us all a little, yeah, armored up or something, because we feel, yeah, like we need to control and keep ourselves safe, protect ourselves and all of that. But yeah, just kind of, contemplating these things. And since I don't, like I had an experience or an encounter this last week where I was sharing a story with someone who's close to me, but where they are, I guess for them it felt like it was a threat to their own thing, and so there was no space for me to share my story without it like triggering them and sending them into like kind of opposition and whatnot. And so that really bothered me because I was like, yeah, I'm not allowed to have my story. And I did like read a few things about that work that I did, that alchemical kind of process where I did allow myself my feelings and everything that like was coming up and wanted to be expressed. And it was like super, super angry. And I realized in a way too, like in one way, it did feel a little personal, like because of the personal relationship. But in another way, it was totally impersonal as well. Like it felt like an impersonal viewpoint. Yeah, just kind of like an archetypal or collective viewpoint as well, like not just mine. Like, it felt a lot deeper than that. So I hope that makes sense. But like, yeah, with these archetypal like structures and archetypal influences, they are personal and impersonal, so they do relate. And so that's pretty cool. I do, have a ton of stuff like on the archetypes, and I'm really excited to talk about. Like, there's so many things. It's probably why I was having a hard time coming on today and wondering what am I going to talk about, because there's so much. There's so much. I don't even know where and how to start. But I just figured, oh well, I'll just get on here and play my part, and we'll see what wants to come from the heart. So that's what I'm here, and that's my art. That's my art of expression, and life is art. And and so art connects to so many different things too. And there's some art like archetypes of that. And I've mentioned Arthur and little Art before, the boy Arthur. There's also the goddess Artemis. Yeah, and she's one of the Greek goddesses. And I have this book that I just got down from my shelf last night. It's I Invoke the Goddess. And Kala Trobe. It's visualizations of Hindu, Greek, and Egyptian deities. And I got this at a library sale. And there's some amazing goddesses in here to like work with. Like it kind of gives a rundown of like some of their qualities and like a little story and kind of like archetypal influences and like correspondences with like different tarot cards and like the mundane aspect and then the magical aspect of them, how like kind of how these archetypes can relate to us and how we kind of like may express like some of those qualities and how we can nurture those qualities and connect to these archetypes in certain ways and learn like more about ourselves and about the goddess that embodies like those archetypal energies. And so that's really cool. So good meditations in here too, like really great meditations. And so maybe I will read one in the near future. But today, I flipped open to Artemis. I did flip open to that, just like doing my book divination. It was like Artemis. And then the next one that I found was Iris. And Iris is about the rainbow. And she's the bridge, between the heavens and the land. And she's always got to be grounded too, to be able to be a messenger. And so it's like, that's great. That's freaking amazing, because it really helps right now. Like, that's one of the things that has been helping me the most, like just to get grounded, because it does, like spinning around on the wheel sometimes. It's like, let's come back into our body, come back into our breath, come down back into the root and get rootedness, and remember like our feet, and remember our humility, and remember like right here we are, loved as we are, just as we are. So that's like, super helpful to get us like kind of rebalanced, recentered, and all of that. But I wanted to read some of the Hermetic principles, and I did like share a little bit on my Facebook page today, just my personal page. Because I'm just like super interested in learning about natural law and cosmic law and about everything really. But yeah, what it means to be sovereign, you know, ruler, master of the self, of your own self. So yeah, that's the archetype that we get to nurture and grow, cultivate, honor, and choose and claim to be. Yeah. Each for ourselves, yes. So we can claim that and choose that and be that and free that and offer that and receive that for ourselves. So yeah, the 7 Hermetic principles. So mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, generation, or gender. So the principles of mentalism. All is mind. The universe is mental. Yeah, we're pretty mental sometimes. So it's the essence of everything is mind. Our actions arise from our thoughts. What we think we shall become. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. It's the reflection of the macrocosm and the microcosm. All things have its equivalent part, physically, mentally, spiritually, which are in harmony with one another, flowing, not separate, but flows in the same line with different degrees of existence. The principles of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. All life are vibrations at different frequencies. Everything is in motion. Are we vibrating in a state of harmony or chaos? The principle of polarity. Positive and negative. Everything is dual, dual nature. Let's see. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Some quality, the same quality but in different degree. What appears as dualism is unity in disguise. Principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swings, manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the wing. Oh. Is the measure of the swing to the left. I put measure of the wing to the left. That was kind of funny, maybe a Freudian slip. Rhythm compensates. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Rhythm, cycle, what flows in flows out, rise and fall, ebb and flow. Principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law. Not recognized, there are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Understanding patterns and relationship. It's the principle of cause and effect. So, principle of generation or gender. Gender is everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. And that's all I have about gender. So maybe that's when I get to look at a little more. And I know like there's so much more written on the Hermetic principles. Those were just like a little summary, like little bite-sized pieces to digest and to play with and to look at. And yeah, maybe spark some curiosity there. But I was laughing because I hadn't read what I wrote down. This is like an old journal from, let's see, how long ago? February of this year. And that's kind of funny because I wrote a little thing today about a pendulum, and it made me smile seeing that. So I'm going to read that. It's just a little thing, but just because of the synchronicity. I said, feeling grindy business, back and forth, pendulum swings, all around, up and down. Guess I'll be here and just write it out. So, that's awesome. And then I picked up my book. Can you tell I love books and I love my books? The Return of the Feminine and the World Soul by Llewellyn Von Lee. Blah, blah, blah. And I flipped open this book. read you this little gem of wisdom here. Through this light, we can awaken to the divine nature of life and experience the real beauty of His revelation. There is only one light, as above, so below, and yet in His creation, He reveals Himself in a way that is not revealed by His transcendent light, the lumen day. What is true for the Creator is also true for us, who are made in His image. The light that is discovered in the depths of the psyche through the work on the shadow and the inner alchemical opus reveals part of our divine nature that is hidden from a purely transcendent consciousness. We come to know ourselves and our beloved in a new way. For each of us, this revelation is unique. Part of the wonder of creation is how she offers a different experience to each of us. Even the same apple tasted by two people will be a different experience. Through the light of the divine, we can see life as it really is in the uniqueness of our own experience of it, and not just through the veils of our projections, and so taste the divine uniqueness of each moment. At the same time we experience this uniqueness as part of our greater oneness, we see the threads that connect together all life. We see how each part reflects the whole. Whoever can't see the whole in every part plays at blind man's bluff. A wise man tastes the tigress in every sip. Yeah. The world soul is not a fixed or a defined substance, but a living substance made out of the hopes, dreams, and deepest imaginings of humanity and all of creation. This is the home of creation's collective memories and the myths of humanity. Here are the archetypes and powers that define our life. Here are hidden places of magical meaning, places where dreams can come into being. We have lived for so long in the stark barrenness of a rational landscape that we have forgotten the potency that lies beneath the surface. Flowing through the pathways created by our conscious connection in the animum mundi, our light will find its way to places of power that are within the world, places where deeper layers of meaning are wanting to come alive. We presently see the material world as something apart from ourselves, a solid and enduring object without life or magic. Like the 17th century scientists who decided animals had no feelings and thus could be dissected without suffering, we feel free to inflict our will upon our world, pillaging it for our own gain without any thought to the suffering and damage we are subjecting it to. Caught up in our materialistic drives, we may not recognize that this image of the world is an illusion, an insubstantial dream that can easily alter or dissolve as new forces come into play. As our light makes its connections within the world soul, it will activate some of these forces, energies that are waiting to liberate the world from this destructive illusion. We know how this works in our own alchemical journey, how what we find beneath the surface changes our values in unexpected ways, how connections are then made and synchronicities occur that before would have been unbelievable. As we make these connections, we will begin to see that both the world and our own selves are more magical than we know. And I know that for sure. I've seen magic, and I know the magic, and I know the magic is we. Yeah, magic lives in we, me, we, thee, and she. Yeah, it's all magical. It's all magical we. Yeah. Magic for we. This work of connecting our light to the world does not need to be done through a mass movement or by millions of people. For centuries, a few alchemists held these secrets of inner transformation against the powerful forces of the church and establishment. The real work is always done by a small number of individuals. What matters is the level of participation, whether we dare to make a real commitment to the work of the soul. Unlike the alchemists living in their laboratories, we do not need to give up our ordinary outer life. Everyday life can also be a necessary balance and protection against the strange delusion so easily created by the inner world. But we do need to recognize that there is a certain work that needs to be done, and that we can no longer stand on the sidelines and watch our collective dreams spin out of control. Our culture may have isolated us within our individual self, separated us from the magic of life, but once again, this is just a surface mirage. We are all connected and part of the living substance of creation. Within every cell of our being, every spark of consciousness, we have a knowing of oneness. Our own inner journey cannot be separate from the journey of the whole. An inner journey separate from the whole is no real journey. It is just another illusion created by an ego that wants to protect itself. The substance of our soul is part of the fabric of life, the tapestry of creation in which are woven the unicorns and monsters of our dreams, as well as the skyscrapers of our cities. The inner and outer worlds are not separate, despite all the efforts our rational culture to have us believe they are. The recent dramas of terrorism have once again brought demons into our living rooms, and we sense there is nowhere really safe from these shadows. But we do not need to simply be victims of these archetypal nightmares. By evoking the real magic that comes from within, we can work to balance the light and the dark and creatively participate in changing the dreams that define our collective life. The light of the world's soul is waiting to be used to connect us with the inner powers that belong to matter and to life itself. The real world is an enchanted place full of magical powers waiting to be used. And as the alchemists understood, the anima mundi is a creative force. It is the artist, the craftsperson, the inner vision which shapes and differentiates the prime matter, giving it form. Wow. That just went along like so perfectly. Well, it is. It all relates to me. It all relates to we. It all relates to all we be. Yeah, it's kind of funny how it, is expressed in different ways through all of we, like in just the most magical, amazing, beautiful ways. Beautiful, terrible, and amazing, and magical and mundane, the sacred and profane, and everything in between, all things. Yeah. And so, can we allow that to be? And learning how to allow, after not knowing how. Yeah, it's just something we get to practice, and we get to just learn and and just wow. Yeah. Allow. So choices and awareness and presence and allowance. So if we can allow all that is now, and then we can see what we have to work with, what we have to play with, what we can ask to release or let go of, or ask for help healing or being with, all those things. Yeah. And there is definitely a time for action and for setting boundaries too. If we're being abused or something, we don't have to allow that. We can allow what we're feeling, and we can allow that love for ourselves and that action of taking care of ourselves and setting our boundaries and removing ourselves from that situation, protecting ourselves. So that's part of allowance too. It's not just allowing everything that happens to us. We have to participate as we get to participate as well. And so that's responsibility. That's responding to what we need, to what our being's telling we, and being true to we, being true to ourselves and what we need, and honoring our integrity. And and that's what we get to do. That's what we get to choose, if we so choose. What I got was a lot of the time we want to avoid being uncomfortable, or it's kind of hard sometimes being with people, or maybe feel awkward when they're uncomfortable. So I know that we've all have learned behaviors of how we fit into a group or a dynamic and stuff, and we fill certain roles, and some of those are archetypal, and some of those are family dynamics and things, and it's all about pattern and all of that. So sometimes, because we are compassionate, we want to care for people, and we want to care for ourselves. Sometimes it's really hard for us to feel what we need to feel, and we don't want to do that. Sometimes we just want to be comfortable, and we think that's the solution. But what I've been getting this week is allow the discomfort to transmute. To be able to transmute, and so allow it to be uncomfortable. And that's also snake medicine. That's the poison and the antidote. So so what do I get to choose? I'm really annoyed with her right now. How am I feeling about her and myself? She bothers me to the high heavens and the lower hells. LOL, oh well. I guess all is well. Fuck your fears and love your fears. Get to know them. Forgive and release. Be free, free yourself, and be all well. Is it about the comfort zone, staying comfortable in the uncomfortable? Is it a personal agreement or an unconscious choice, or is it something else? Do you want me to make things more comfortable for you? A fort? By being false rather than true? What do you expect if you don't want it all? Play it all, live it all, be it all, love it all, free it all, hold it all, receive it all, receiving all, freeing all. Okay, the crab wall, the armor, the miser, the fool, the hermit, death, and the star. So I guess I can just allow myself all I am, all she is, all we are, and all thou art, and release it all to thee, to be full, to be empty, to be freely received, offered, shared, exchanged, given, allowed to be. Oh, it is the mother wound, the abandoning cruel one, and the tyrant, the unloving unloved one. Ah, miser. And so yeah, that's what I was getting. Yeah, that's why the miser was feeling so miserly. The abandoning cruel one, and the tyrant, and the unloving unloved one. So the smother mother, the oppressor, the judge. Run away, protect yourself from your own hell. That leads to well. Isolate your own true self, suppress, rejecting all you are, disallowing all we are, all she is, all will be, all we could become. I surrender and release, and open to a new story that is more full, whole, true, and aligned with love that wants to come through and be born into this new space. For nurturing all I am, all she is, all we are. All love is, gives, shares, offers, receives, and frees, allows to be in fullness and integrity for all of we, all of she, all thee, all free. All I am for all of me. And so, yeah, that's one of the first mantras, or the first little affirmations that I knew. It was just like, that's what I was being given. Like, Mother Earth told me, she said, you belong here. She said, you are so needed here. Your love is so needed here. You belong, and you always have belonged. And that was just like, whoa, because I had that story that I didn't belong here, and that like there was a mistake. But just like that sense of belonging, like that I did belong here, and that I was right to be here, and that, yeah, all of me was all my love for all of me, like all the love that God and Goddess had for me, that they gave to me, so I could be, and be received, and receive, and be, yeah. And so, like, just the Trinity of God, Goddess, and me, like me. And then, like, yeah, it's just like me and we and thee and she. But me and we and she, like, are me and thee and she. Yeah, and all this love we be. And so, yeah. But that was like a total mantra that I would pretty much like say over and over and over and over again. It's all my love for all of me. I am my love for all of me. All this love I need for me, my love for all of me. Like in just little just variations, and I would just like free my self-expression, and it would just come out. And it wasn't anything that I thought about. It was like actually just expressing inspired action without the planning it out or thought. And like, yeah, that was a whole new experience for me to be able to like practice that and choose that and like allow that and welcome and receive and express and offer that to me and receive that for me and express and be that for me. And so, yeah, that was like super, super huge and empowering, and it really did like help me build the structures that I've built in the last couple of years, just with that like one foundation, that it's like all for all, you know, like, and it's like all we are. We're one. We contain all, you know? And then in the collective, we're all, but we're each one. I mean, it's just like unlimited how you can see it in different ways, but yeah. We're microcosm, macrocosm. So, yeah. So great opportunities for alchemy and clearing coming up for me and we. Wake up and play. It's not so serious. Just play all your ways. Play and love all your ways. see if there's anything else. I know there was. There's lots of stuff. So I just get to be and allow it to come if it wants to come through. Allow it and make the space. And maybe it is okay too. This has just got me thinking, and maybe that was like just perfect and exactly what I needed. And I get to share it now. And so, yes, it reminds me of something like, can we be okay with silence? Like, can we welcome and allow the silence too? Like, do we always have to fill up that silence, or can we allow spirit to come through, or allow, that space for her to be and come and be received through. So, which reminds me of another book that I have. It's The Sacred Art of Listening, and let's see, maybe I'll whip that out next time. But my twin sister gave that to me years ago, and it sat on my shelf for years until one day I picked it up. And I think it was in that book that she had said that she worked with like different groups to help with like mediation and to help with peace and like just being an ambassador and all of that kind of thing. And she was helping people to listen because we'd never really been taught how to listen. And one of those things, I think there was a practice where, say we're with another person and we totally give them the space to speak and everything, and instead of like thinking in our mind, oh I have a story that relates, just kind of like allow, take that in, like just take it all in, be willing to take it all in, be present for that. And then as they're finished, like at least take about 7 seconds or so, 7 seconds before we even respond. And so I just wonder like how that would change things in certain ways. Like if we did like an active practice like that, where we actually did sit down and talk with each other, and we did give one another like that 7 seconds. And that's not a long time, but sometimes it can feel long, like when we think we're supposed to perform or come back with something, or I don't know. So I just thought that was interesting too. And I feel like maybe I'll ask someone in my relationship if they want to try that with me or practice that with me and see how that goes. But like maybe even just with myself too. But one of the ways that I got more comfortable speaking too, and it was like super helpful for me like during some of my alchemical processes, and like going through like some of the kundalini rising, like just crazy, like just wow energy sometimes just doesn't want to be managed or controlled at all, like just wants to be allowed to be and like channeled and directed in certain ways. And so I had like all of these things to say, but like at that time, like not a lot of people I could share it with, and not a lot of people that would have got it anyways. I don't feel like, because I mean, maybe there's my tribe's out there somewhere, but like sometimes I felt like really like I had big limitations, because some of the people in my circles and stuff, they don't get it, or they don't understand like the deeper, more spiritual, more intimate, I guess, things. Not that it's better than other things, but like just deeper levels, I guess it needs receptivity or some kind of a like awareness of other basic things too. And so it's been hard, like as in a way, like that's the hermit. Sometimes we're lonely because but that also reminds me of something else. It's so funny. But I was able to speak, and I started doing these videos just for myself, just so I could like speak out stuff and talk it out, and just like get used to being in front of a camera and being used to like speaking freely. because that was such a huge deal, and it felt like such a block and a hard thing for me. It was a struggle and a challenge, and it was a limitation like that I felt, I had. I've always been shy and quiet, and yeah, and just kind of censored and suppressed myself, yeah, through like social learning and behavior, just like behavioral modification and all that kind of stuff over the years, and just not being okay to say what I needed to say, or just to like what I wanted to like, or just, yeah, any of that. Like, but a lot of those relationships that I had, like, like that did cause some pain and hurt me, because I wasn't allowed to be me. Like, they were actually my greatest teachers, and they taught me like a lot about me and how I could claim me and how I could be me. And so, yeah, there's been a lot of tyrants in my life. For sure. For sure. But like, I've been my own like biggest one. Like, because, yeah, I took all that in, all that emotional garbage, and I agreed to it, like, in some ways consciously and in other ways unconsciously. So I got to like dump all that, and release all that and compost all that. And so, yeah, the shit is good fertilizer. It really is. And some of it, like, we can just give back to the earth, and some of it we can use it to plant with, and to grow our flowers and our mushrooms and ourselves with. So. And so last night I picked up this book, and this is The Mind by Yogi Bhajan. The projections and multiple facets of the mind. And it's kind of funny how it does relate. So there's a Mula mantra, and I'll just read you the translation right now. There is one creator, and this is the gift of that one true guru. The creator of all is one. Truth is his name. He is the doer of everything. Fearless and revengeless, undying, unborn, and self-illumined. This is revealed through the true guru's grace. Meditate. True in the beginning, true through all the ages, true even now. O Nanak, he shall ever be true. By thinking and thinking upon the nature of God, no knowledge of him is ever attained. So we need to experience God. It says you can sit and read from Sri Guru Granth Sahib yourself. There is no conflict with any other person. There is no personality to confront. Then the reality of you within you is in reach. It is that core personality of you, your consciousness, that you must recognize. Then the mind will not amplify and manipulate your fears. The moment you have no fear, when you are fearless and revengeless, you are the living God. God does not live off in some heavens. God lives in every heart. In hearts where there is fear, then God is in trouble, and non-reality brings a lot of pain. What happens between God and you? What happens when this soul of yours comes to this planet? When you, the light of the soul, come in the soul to experience this creation, what occurs? There are 5 layers of ether. The first, most dense and tangible layer of the ether is when the soul cleans itself and has a receptivity to prepare itself to go back according to its karmas and projections. The soul is held by the subtle body, so it is neither in the earth nor gone into the merger in the one. The second layer of ether, the soul is content to stay, supervise, and help other promising souls. It acts beyond space, beyond its own personal domain. In the third layer of ether, a soul vibrates in the pure light of the soul to reach liberation and to uplift all souls now, past, and future. It goes through and beyond time. It is these 3 ethers that a meditative mind can easily penetrate. Doing the many meditations that refine the mind gives you the capacity to experience this. It is not mystical. It is practical. So, let's see what else. There was something that I read last night. It was a little gem. And so, the technology to take you beyond fear and beyond the personality conflict within you. He gave you no personality to be afraid of in a person. When you read and listened to the words in the Siru Guru Granth Sahib, it is nothing but your own infinite personality. Your mind dwells in your consciousness. When you read and recite, you always hear the truth, and hear it regardless of the state and strategies of your mind. It is beyond time and space. When you begin and you read the words Ek Ankar, there is one infinite consciousness in all creation. It is your presence. It is your infinite presence. In the presence. Yeah. Ek Ankar Satanam. Yeah. Ek Ankar Satanam. So, hey. Yes, and one other thing, like, that I've been struggling with, and that I kind of, have been working with, playing with, alchemizing, releasing, composting, allowing, all of that, was, just allowing other people to have their own stories and their own experience, and being where they are, and all of that. Even though, like, still wanting others to understand, but like I don't have like as kind of a pushy agenda. It doesn't feel like it's pushy anymore. It's just like, I'm putting this out there, I'm trying to show you, but it's not like, please see this. And and I realized after looking at like why was it so important for me for certain people, that are close to me, or people that I admire, or that I have thought of as mentors, or of, teachers, and all of that, and as, they're wise in themselves too. But I also did realize, we all do have our blind spots and our limitations, right? And just remembering that again, like, we all do. We all have our wisdom. We all have our ignorance. We all have our innocence, and we all have our arrogance sometimes too. So we have all of that. And so that's just how we get to be. And we just get to allow it and claim it and own it. Yeah. So know that we are all of those things. And so, but I did realize too that one of the reasons I wanted so desperately for them to know, not just because like freaking it's really important to know, but it was also like an underlying ego agenda that I wasn't aware of, that was like, I want them to validate me. That's why I want them to know, so that I know I'm okay. And that was kind of silly for me to see. And just like, oh, just laugh at me, silly me, being silly, silly me. So, just get to like catch those things and watch those things and remind ourselves and like validate ourselves and legitimize ourselves and claim our whole selves and claim our full selves and our own authority and our own like right to be however we are and just as we be. And that's justice, and that's integrity, and doing our best is impeccability. And so, what choices are you making, and what choices are you aware of? What agreements have you made? What agreements are you making now? Are there agreements we could remake or renegotiate? All of those things. What kind of agreements do we have with ourselves? Are there choices that maybe we want to change, or maybe like refresh or rename or unname, like all of that? So it's all about, the power of choice and what we get to choose, because it is all for us, like all of this, all that we get to choose. So that's love, and that's freedom, and that's sovereignty, and learning how to respond with impeccability, and knowing what like our responsibility is, developing that responsibility, those responsibilities. So that's what we get to choose and get to allow, if we so choose. So hope you're all well, and all is well, or all will be well. So take good care of yourself, be love for yourself, free yourself, be yourself, love yourself, live for yourself. And yeah, be all that love that you need for yourself. Be well. I'll see you later. Ciao for now.